Good morning, welcome to Sunday. Or good afternoon, wherever you are. Be getting some hits on the YouTube channel from various places. Greetings to the people I can see on Zoom. Nice to see you all. Greetings to the people I cannot see on Facebook and YouTube. Happy to be with y'all. We're going to talk about a little bit about fear and anxiety today, because we live in kind of scary and anxious times. And I've been contacted by some people who are having those issues, and I thought it would be a good topic. Before that, of course, we're going to sit. And I've been involved in a study of the Satipatthana Sutra, the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, and with a focus on what's referred to as the refrain, where Buddha talked about knowing you are sitting, knowing you are breathing. Just the simplicity of knowing. So I thought I would just start with that and talk about that a little leading into the meditation. This isn't complicated. And we complicate it with a lot of thinking and a lot of noise. But when we're meditating, we're simply knowing that we're sitting or standing. When we know we're breathing in and out. And we drift away from that knowing into something more complicated, thoughts, feelings, whatever. And then we come back. And it's the simple exercise and the simple process of remembering to know that when you're sitting, sit, when you're walking, walk, when you're talking, talk, just focusing on the simplicity of being and doing whatever you're being and doing in the moment. So, I'd also like to share a quote that came across the transom, if I can get to it. Suzuki Roshi says, when you are practicing Zazen, this is what we're doing is similar to Zazen. It says, when you are practicing Zazen, do not try to stop your thinking. Let it stop by itself. If something comes into your mind, let it come in, and let it go. It will not stay long. People, especially early on in their meditation practice, struggle with thinking. So I'm suggesting we don't struggle. Thoughts are going to arise. That's just the way we're wired. And we can sort of watch them like clouds going by. And then make a conscious effort to return to being present with the simplicity of sitting and breathing. But not to worry about it, not to stress about it. Just sort of let it come and go. So, with that, I invite you to find your meditation posture. And that is a posture in which you are relaxed but alert. If you're sitting upright but not rigid, just sort of letting your back fall into its natural curve. Letting your torso sort of rest into your pelvis. You might want to tuck in your chin just a little bit, and that straightens the top of your spine. But do so without stressing or stretching your neck or shoulder muscles. And I invite you to become aware of the touch points I invite you to become aware of the sensation of your feet or your legs resting on the floor. Feel the contact. I invite you to the simplicity of noticing the way your bottom feels sitting on the chair or the cushion or whatever you're sitting on. Noticing the sensations of your hands resting in your lap. Whatever surface of your hands is resting on whatever they're resting on. Just notice the feeling in your hands. Just noticing the simplicity of the sensations of your body sitting in this moment. The temperature of the room. And I invite you to bring your attention to the sensations of the body breathing. Let's take a few long, slow, deep breaths. Noticing the sensations of your chest or belly expanding as you breathe in. Riding the sensations of the in-breath all the way to the top. And if it feels okay to pause for just a moment at the top and notice your body transitioning into an out-breath. And noticing and riding the sensations of your body breathing out. The simplicity of sitting and breathing. We're not doing anything else. There's nothing else to do. And just let your awareness and your attention rest on your breathing. And remain there. If your mind wanders off, that's okay, it does that. When you notice, without getting involved in whatever the content is, just notice thinking. You can, if you want, internally sort of bow to it. And come back to your breathing. Just riding the rhythm of the body breathing in and out. If it's a short breath, just noticing it's a short breath. Just breathing normally. If it's a longer breath, just noticing it's a longer breath. Thoughts may come and go. Feelings may arise. It's all good. Let them come. Let them go. And bring your attention back to rest on your breathing in and out. Just being with the simplicity of sitting in this moment. The simplicity of bringing yourself back from whatever thoughts your mind has wandered into. The simplicity of being with the breath, moving in and out. The simplicity of being with the sensations of the torso expanding and contracting and the rhythm of your breathing. And as we come towards the end of this sitting, just sitting with the simplicity of being in the present moment, breathing in and out. And letting the simplicity of this moment nurture its own sort of calm and peace. Even though the things of our lives may be swirling around us, in this moment we are sitting peacefully. And may it be that the benefits of this practice enable us to bring this peace to the world around us as kindness and compassion, to view the world through kind eyes, to look upon those who are suffering with compassion, to look at upon those who are acting out as suffering, and this is what that looks like. May it be that the benefits of this practice enable us to open our hearts to the people we interact with today, to the people in our households, to the people in our towns, to the world around us, and to bring kindness and compassion to our interactions with our spouses and friends, with the grocery clerk, with the person who holds the door open for us. May it be that the benefits of this practice be a benefit to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. There's a few people who I haven't seen here before. I'd like to welcome you. I hope to see you again. I put the usual information in the chat, the information on how to reach the Zoom call and how to also find these meditations and talks on Facebook, as well as my website and my contact information. And of course, everything I do is freely given, with no expectations of really anything. But if you feel moved to make a donation, there's a link in there for that. So in this moment, I am sitting with y'all, or with an electronic representation of y'all. Nothing is actually happening. I'm having a little piece of anxiety, brought on by the fact that I heard a tone in my right side hearing aid which tells me the battery is going to die in a second. That's really nothing that matters at all. There's stuff going on in my life, but none of it's happening now. And it's a question of what I tell myself about that. I've talked a lot about the two arrows, and we will get to that in just a moment. It seems we're living in a time of pervasive fear and anxiety. There's COVID and a pandemic and everything that goes along with that. Many people have suffered humongous losses as a result of that, and fear of what may happen next. Fear of the political system on both sides. Fear associated with the neglect of the planet and the severe weather we're having. Fear of whatever may come next. And we learn early on in life to fear things that may cause us pain and suffering. The Buddha himself described different types of fear. He said there's a useful kind of fear that prepares us to take skillful action and reduce harm. And then there's another kind of fear where we see a cobra, where a piece of rope has cast its shadow. You know, we all experienced all of this. There are things worthy of being afraid of. When I took the motorcycle safety training course, they showed me a picture of a semi-truck from above. There's like these wings coming off the side of it. And that is the zone in which the driver cannot see you. So I'm afraid to ride there, but that's a good thing. I'm afraid to step out in front of a moving train. That's probably a good thing too. And my right side hearing aid just quit completely. That's okay, I have batteries in the drawer, but it makes me feel a little off balance. That's okay too. I'm deciding it's all okay. But there are other fears. I was a therapist in private practice for 25 years. And one of the things that I used to say about that is the art of being in private practice is to untether your sense of well-being from the numbers. My practice is full and I get nervous about how stressful that might be. 3 people leave in 1 week, and people constantly come and go if you're a therapist in private practice. 3 people leave in 1 week and my fear of financial insecurity comes up. And in 25 years of doing that, I never had to sell the house and live in the car because there wasn't enough money coming in. But I had that little piece wired. So all feelings are a form of energy. Energy that we notice in our body. When I feel fear or anxiety, it's like here in my belly is mostly where I feel it. If I feel anger, it's mostly in my shoulders. It's kind of like my shoulders are trying to fold my body in half. It's a very defended position. But it comes down to what I tell myself about this. Am I capable of deciding, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, deciding that I'm okay regardless of my emotional state? I grew up in a sort of chaotic environment, and the echo of that is I have periods of anxiety. And I have had to decide, I didn't have to, but I have decided that that's okay. It's just something that happens. I used to attach a narrative to that of some version of I'm not okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay. Then I decided that that wasn't getting me anywhere. And I was reminded in Thich Nhat Hanh's biography of Buddha, Old Path, White Clouds, there's a scene where some of the monks come to Buddha in his hut, and they say, we think we should bring women into this spiritual phenomenon that we're creating. And Buddha's first response to that is, we're never going to talk about that again. This is India 2,500 years ago. Eventually they created the Bhikkhuni tradition. So I take that and I put that next to the image of Jesus kneeling on the ground, begging God to take this cup from me. And I look at that and I say, okay, Buddha got confused by women. Buddha got confused. He didn't always know what to do. There was strife in the Sangha at one point, and he just walked off into the woods and retreat. So Buddha got confused, and Jesus got scared. So these are natural things that we all deal with. So maybe we can all just lighten up on ourselves a little bit. Because in the present moment, nothing is actually happening. 99% of the time. And as I've talked about many times, our experience is in more than one part. And 2 of those parts are, here's what happens and here's what we tell ourselves about what happens. And often, here's what happens is I feel anxious, I feel scared, I feel whatever it is I feel. It's uncomfortable. And my default position, what I tell myself, is I'm not okay because I'm having this experience. I think a lot of people do that. 25 years of psychotherapy, that was the thing that really, a thread that ran through it all. Is I'm not feeling okay, so I'm not okay. But as I've talked about, there are also two arrows in our experience. There's the first arrow, which is the wound, whatever it is. I feel angry, I feel scared. The second arrow is the self-inflicted wound. That's what we tell ourselves about these things. Can I decide that I'm okay even if I'm not feeling okay? These are scary days. Okay. There are things worth being afraid of. Riding my motorcycle where the trucks can't see me. The possibility of getting COVID. Being afraid that bad things will happen to people who I love. All of these things come and go. And I have done this with one set of fears or another all of my life. And I was in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was nervous about the possibility of earthquakes. And I've decided at some point, if you're going to worry about that, you can't live there. And if you're going to live there, you can't really worry about it. And then we had an earthquake. Right? I mean, a big one. Loma Prieta came. And my experience of that was completely different from what I imagined would happen. I was like hyper alert and awake and aware of what was going on, and I knew exactly what to do. And I was fine. I was just rattled, literally and figuratively. The point is, and if you look at it, none of what I have feared has actually ever happened 90% of the time. I did not run out of money and have to go back to work for a social service agency, and I decided after doing that, after working for big healthcare companies and social service agencies, I decided I would go back to being a cab driver before I did that again, which isn't as far afield from being a therapist as you might think. None of what I fear actually happens. I own a house in southern Indiana. Buying a house is nerve-wracking. All that money on the line and all that fear, and guess what? Nothing bad happened. There's just hoops to jump through. So in the present moment, I'm fine. I'm on my way to someplace and I might be running a little late. I'm starting to have some anxiety and some energy around that. And then I realized that in the 66 years of this life, nothing bad has ever happened as a result of something like that. I might get scolded by somebody. Okay. I've been scolded by more important people than anybody who's going to show up in my life today. So right now, in this moment, where I live, I'm okay. And I say 99.9% of the time, nothing is happening. Because I have a friend when I lived in Sacramento who owned a liquor store, and it was a big plate glass window. There was the counter at the liquor store, and behind him, behind the counter, was a big plate glass window. And outside the plate glass window was the parking lot. And a guy backed his truck through the window, and my friend was standing there. Miracle of miracles, he was not seriously hurt, it just knocked him over. So that's the 1% of 1% of the time you're not okay. That's why I don't say 100% of the time, because yes, random stuff does happen. But the chances of it happening are really not so great. There may be a firestorm that goes off in my head. There may be a firestorm that goes off in your head. But one of the beautiful gifts of mindfulness is the ability to look around at the present moment and say, nothing is going on now. And one of the things I still ask people when they're feeling anxious or anticipating the future, I like to ask, what do we actually know? We don't really know anything most of the time. I saw Marshall Lunningham, she's the woman who invented dialectical behavioral therapy. And she did this exercise where she kind of like sat down in her chair like and went and then said, "What did you see?" And various people saw various things. And a whole bunch of people said, "Oh, I saw you being like frustrated and rolling your eyes." And at the end of that exercise, she said, "All you actually saw was I sat in my chair and moved my head. The rest, we just made up." So I decided to talk about this today because I've been experiencing some of this. And I think we all do from time to time. We live in anxious times, as I've said. But anybody watching this is living in the first world. And the chances are you are not going to run out of money and starve to death. The chances are you're going to be okay, and the chances are you're okay now. You may not feel okay, and I'm not saying that none of us have challenges. Some of us are ill, some of us do have difficulties going on in our lives, financial difficulties, health difficulties, relationship difficulties. But the anxiety we place over that is, as often as not, connected to how we describe it to ourselves. So I saw a Tibetan proverb came across the transom. It said, "Feel the feelings, reject the narrative." And sometimes it's as simple as just reminding myself, "Oh, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay," just sort of like a mantra. I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm okay. I'm concerned about my friends up north, especially my friends in New York and New England who may be experiencing severe weather without electricity. But I also have known some of these people for a long time. They know how to take care of themselves. My experience of that fear is not an indication of anything that's happening to them, actually. So, it comes back to what I was talking about earlier. The simplicity of the individual moments. One of the things that I like about this Satipatthana Sutra is it keeps coming back to the simplicity of the individual moments. We are simply sitting here, we are simply breathing in and out, we are simply doing our lives, and our feelings come and go, and our circumstances come and go, and we can still be okay, even if it's difficult. So, we're having colder temperatures than usual here in Florida, and I am told that one of the things that is happening is that iguanas are falling asleep and falling out of trees. I'm hoping I don't get beamed by a random iguana. And I'm hoping they're not injured when they fall to the ground. So, I invite you to remember that you're okay. I invite you to remember that when scary things are happening, that you still are capable of acting and responding in the present moment to be well and take care of yourself. And I invite you to self-compassion. When we have difficult feelings, when times feel difficult, especially, I've been associated with 12-step groups for 30 years, and the tendency to be hard on ourselves when it feels hard is a cloud that so many of us walk around in. So I invite you to be compassionate with the person in the mirror when things are hard, and to remember when you're scared, that's okay. That's a normal emotional response to things being difficult or uncertain, and you're still okay. It's when we can't feel anything that we're in trouble. That's what I believe. Anyway. May you be kind and gentle and compassionate with yourself in difficult times and in easy times as well. Thank you for your kind attention. Anybody have any questions or comments? I'm going to put a battery in my hearing aid in case somebody does, so I can actually hear you. Alrighty then. Thank you all. Welcome to the new people. Hope to see you again. And I will see you all next week.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.